I woke up to a miracle today. Triggers fade as I find my way. No judgment to lead astray. In this peaceful state I'll stay.
Welcome back to A Course in Miracles in Practice by the World Harmony Project. Today we are starting an exploration of Lesson 349.
And right away, this lesson signals a pretty profound change in focus, I think, compared to some of the earlier work we've done.
There's a noticeable shift.
It moves beyond just the idea of observing or correcting perception.
Earlier exercises were so invested in the process of perception itself, seeing an error, then correcting that error, practicing new ways to see.
But this lesson changes the whole locus of effort.
It's designed to pull us out of this deep-seated habit, the habit of deciding what every single situation means.
The prior work, you could say, laid the groundwork. It showed us that our perception is faulty.
And now this lesson offers a release from the effort of correction.
The task is to stop the act of interpretation completely.
And stopping that can produce such a strange sensation. For a mind that's been working so hard, it can feel like this huge relief, an immediate unburdening.
But on the other hand, for a mind that's really conditioned to control and define everything,
It can feel profoundly unsettling. It all depends on how attached we are to having that ready explanation for every single event.
because definition is safety, at least in the ego's language. So to stop defining is to enter this temporary suspension, and the ego reads that as instability.
That's our mission today, to really understand how that deliberate stopping of meaning-making creates a state of freedom.
We need to get into the mechanics of it.
And for you listening, the thing to hold on to is that we're talking about an internal action.
We really appreciate you joining us for this exploration. Your participation is what makes this a journey.
And if this discussion brings up questions for you, or you want to share how this lesson lands in your own practice, you can always reach us by email. It's ACIM@theworldharmonyproject.org.
We really do value every message we get. You can also find more material on our TikTok at the World Harmony Project.
So let's begin by reading Lesson 349. Today I let Christ's vision look upon all things for me and judge them not, but give each one a miracle of love instead. So to liberate all things I see and give to them the freedom that I seek. For thus do I obey the law of love and give what I would find and make my own. It will be given me because I have chosen it as the gift I want to give. Father, your gifts are mine. Each one that I accept gives me a miracle to give. In giving as I would receive, I learn your healing miracles belong to me.
Our Father knows our needs. He gives us grace to meet them all. And so we trust in Him to send us miracles to bless the world and heal our minds as we return to Him.
What stands out so immediately reading that is just how focused and narrow the responsibility becomes.
The directive is all about stopping one single habit, the compulsion to decide what a situation means.
And that is such a difference in the kind of mental participation we're used to.
When the text says to judge them not, the effort is entirely in the stopping, in the cessation of that mental process.
Not in adding some new complex analysis on top of it.
Let's talk about that explanation running, because we have to see that meaning-making, the act of assigning a definition, is fundamentally how the ego stays oriented.
It's a survival tool. We decide what an action or a person means so we know where we stand in relation to it.
It gives the mind a sense of footing, a sense of stability. It's the mental anchor we drop automatically in every new situation.
And often before we're even consciously aware we're doing it.
That decision to define is for control. When the mind decides a comment means rejection, for instance, it immediately knows what to do.
I'm rejected, so I need to defend myself, or withdraw, or maybe attack.
Right. And that decision, no matter how wrong it is, provides a kind of temporary security. The unknown has been categorized.
So the lesson is asking us to pull up that anchor, to remove that footing. There's no predetermined conclusion holding reality in place. The situation doesn't have its usual explanation. It's a space that can feel deeply unsettling at first.
Because the mind is just so accustomed to having an answer ready for everything.
And when we stop deciding the meaning, we lose that immediate sense of control, the power to predict what comes next.
And the lesson is aimed at that constant running of explanations and justifications for everything we see. And this stopping, the cessation of meaning-making, leads us right to the idea of delegation.
That one instruction, let Christ's vision look upon all things for me.
That is the practical application. It completely removes the need for our ego-driven framework.
It's so important to be clear what Christ's vision means here. It's not physical sight. It's not some mystical state.
It's defined as the pure recognition of shared innocence, of oneness.
It's the simple acknowledgement that every situation is either love or it's a call for love. And there's no other category.
So by delegating the vision, we are basically saying that our personal, dualistic, meaning-deciding framework isn't just unnecessary.
It's actually in the way. It's detrimental to seeing what's really there.
And this is where liberation happens. Without the explanation running, without the ego defining the situation as dangerous or special or guilty.
The situation itself is no longer trapped inside our personal, limited version of it.
It's not being asked to justify our reaction anymore. It's not there to support our emotional position or reinforce a belief we have about ourselves or the world.
The situation is released. It's liberated. We stop demanding that it support our position on guilt or danger.
And the incredible simplicity here is that the same mental move does both things.
The situation is freed from our story about it.
And at the same time, our mind is no longer held captive inside that story either. We were looking for freedom, and the only way to find it was to choose to give freedom to what we were looking at. The freedom is built into the act of letting go of the meaning itself.
There's no delay. There's no waiting period between stopping the judgment and feeling unburdened. The cause and the effect are simultaneous.
And this reciprocal relationship, where giving and receiving are functionally the same thing, that's exactly what the lesson calls the law of love.
It's just describing the way the mind works when it's not being interfered with by judgment.
To give freedom is to receive it, because the mind is one.
And if we accept that this law of love is operating, it means that judgment has been completely suspended in that moment.
Right. And non-judgment, as it's used here, is more than just avoiding negative thoughts.
It means we're not making any ego-based conclusions at all about guilt, about specialness, about threat, anything.
And that non-judgment has to include dropping self-judgment too.
Letting the Holy Spirit's single verdict, the verdict of complete and eternal innocence, stand for us and for everyone we see. The only judgment left is innocence.
And that resulting shift in your internal experience, that profound change in how the moment feels inside, that's what the lesson calls a miracle.
We have to keep reinforcing this. A miracle is a shift in perception.
Nothing external has to change. Nothing has to manifest for the miracle to be completely real.
This is so vital. It's not a magical event that rearranges the world.
It's the simple, honest correction in the mind's interpretation. And this miracle this lesson points to is the absence of pressure.
The complete disappearance of tension. The tension that came from feeling like you had to decide or categorize or justify. Just think about the sheer amount of mental energy that is normally consumed by that explanation running.
It's constant. Is this good for me? Is this a threat? Does this make me look bad? Is that person right or wrong?
The tension just vanishes and you're left with a quiet, open mind.
And the lesson's language about gifts follows this exact same pattern of internal exchange.
The gift is a state of mind. Vision without judgment. The unconditional ability to extend love. That's the gift of Christ's vision.
Accepting this gift is purely functional.
You accept it by using it, not by holding it as some abstract idea or an intellectual concept.
The act of using it is what confirms that the gift, the capacity for this non-judgmental vision, is already in your mind. It's ready for you to apply right now.
So the acceptance process is the delegation process. We accept the gift by following the instruction. Let Christ's vision look upon all things for us.
We allow that recognition of shared innocence to actively replace our ingrained habit of instant judgment.
And it instantly becomes available to give.
Giving reflects what the mind has accepted as true for itself. If you accept the vision of innocence and liberation in that moment, you automatically extend it to the situation you're looking at.
And crucially, this whole exchange stays entirely within the mind. Nothing has to physically move between people.
The act of freeing the situation from our limiting explanation is the same act as accepting complete freedom and innocence for ourselves.
And that's the practical definition of the law of love. Giving and receiving are one. They happen inside the mind's decision-making ability.
What you extend, the non-judgmental vision, is what you keep. You choose to give the gift of non-judgment to the world, and that choice confirms you've accepted it for yourself.
And you can see this lesson showing up in such subtle, ordinary moments all day long.
For example, you're thinking about an interaction you just had, and a thought starts to form an explanation. A story about fault or blame.
And right in that moment, you consciously choose not to continue it. You hold the narrative mid-sentence.
That's the application. You might find yourself starting to form a conclusion about something, a verdict on someone's intentions maybe, or categorizing an event as a tragedy or a victory.
And the discipline is just in stopping that thought train. There's no added correction, no reshaping of the content.
The explanation is simply not carried forward to its usual binding conclusion.
But the immediate feeling that can follow that is a sense of being incomplete or unfinished.
Because the ego mind is deeply conditioned to secure outcomes, to generate a final verdict.
You're so used to tying a neat bow on every experience and saying, I know exactly what this is and I know what it means for me.
That feeling of being unfinished is just the mind's resistance to letting go of its control over reality.
Which is really just the explanation habit trying to stay in charge and apply judgment to the practice itself.
The mind starts asking, did I do that right? Do I get a reward for stopping? And that, ironically, just restarts the whole judgment process.
The success of the lesson is just the stepping aside.
The willingness to let the explanation stop, even if it feels jarringly incomplete.
And that profound, quiet absence of pressure, that is the miracle the lesson is pointing to. It's subtle, but the effect, the sense of unburdening, is unmistakable. This constant, repeated act of stepping aside builds a really essential trust. Trust in allowing Christ's vision to work without our personal supervision.
We're trusting it to see the unshakable truth of innocence for us, without needing our ego to filter it or interpret it or fear it.
And that trust, the ability to let go of the reins of interpretation, isn't developed through some huge superhuman effort.
It grows through small, brief pauses, repeated often, all day long.
You just need to recognize the beginning of the explanation running, step aside for a moment, and allow the vision to do its silent, corrective work.
And we allow the mind to function according to its natural design, which is the law of love. This repeated, small-scale stepping aside is how we slowly, gently, and surely learn that healing miracles belong to us.
Because we are the givers of them.
So our exploration today really confirms that Lesson 349 is this profound and intensely practical invitation to stop deciding what things mean.
We're asked to let a vision without judgment, that recognition of shared innocence, instantly replace all those explanations. And the miracles, the corrections in perception, follow as a natural, inevitable consequence.
And the lesson concludes with a promise that really sums up the ultimate goal of this practice. We're reminded, our Father knows our needs. He gives us grace to meet them all.
And that's the foundation for our final thought. The practice is about trusting that grace is already provided to meet our daily need for this non-judgmental vision. By trusting that miracles will be sent, we're trusting the mind's own mechanism to bless the world through our perception. And in doing that, to heal our own minds, fulfilling the entire purpose of our return to innocence.
If this lesson brought up questions for you about letting go of explanation, or if you had a moment where this practice felt particularly challenging, we would love to hear from you. You can email us at acim@theworldharmonyproject.org.
Thank you for practicing with us and for allowing this process of deep liberation to continue.
We'll see you next time.